Alrighty, today I'd like to share a little project with you. I have an Athearn F7 unit here ready to roll, and I picked this up at the hobby shop for a couple bucks, and actually it runs pretty well. And I also had DCC running on it at one point in time, and it ran okay. But I'm going to upgrade this. I'm going to do a major upgrade to it. And the reason is because I want to run it with a Stewart Hobbies A unit, F7A unit, that has a Cato motor in it. And I know that this motor is not going to work well with the Cato. So what we're going to do is we're going to change out not only the trucks for better connectivity, but also the motor. Okay, so there's a few things that we need to do that, and the first thing, of course, is our motor. And this motor is a Cato, and it's specifically made to fit in the Athearn shell. It has the 4 motor mounts, or they call it old style, that will drop right in there, and you just screw it down in. And it also has the mounts for the decoder, and it makes it really simple, pretty much plug and play. This should give me the advantage of running a B unit, which is what this is going to be, along with my A unit. I'm hoping I can run them together and do a consist with it. I have the B unit here, I have the shell. Just as a point of interest. So this is the shell, and I'm going to run this with another custom painted shell that I did on the A unit together, I hope. So we'll find out as we go along. There are other things you need to make this work, and that's kind of why I'm doing this video. There's a whole bunch of bits and pieces to do a major upgrade like that. So the other thing that you need is, I get this out of the way, are some new high performance worm gears. And this is Athearn number ATH 34128. So you need 2 of those, and they run about $9.98 a piece. So they're not real cheap, but they're well worth it. They're the new helical gears that Athearn is using. Also, the Cato motor serial number, or product number, is 956010. Motor with flywheels and old style motor mount. So this is what you're after to work in an Athearn frame. Okay, so that takes care of that part. The other thing you're going to need is, and make sure this is in the window, is an A-line universal coupling package hex drive. So this will work with the hex drive that is milled into these flywheels. All the new Athearn locomotives are using this hex drive connection on their universals now, so you have to keep that in mind. So the number on this is 12034, and I think it was about, I don't think it was over $7. It's pretty reasonable. They give you some instructions on how to make it work. Okay, so the other thing you need is some upgraded trucks, and I'm not so sure that's showing up in the light too well. Maybe right there. These are Athearn Genesis trucks, and I got these from a friend. These are the Blueburn trucks. If you go on their parts section online, I think they have like 5 or 6 variations on this. But they are designed to work with DCC. They're completely retooled. They run a lot smoother. and I have the copper bar in here that makes contact with the axles, so that you have a more positive connection between you and your decoder. The one thing on these is possibly we're going to have to take and redo the wiring on it. I'm pretty sure this is too short and it's awful light. I don't like using this light wire. This is like 36 gauge, too thin. I don't like to go any lower than 30. I prefer 28. So we're going to use those. And the next thing you need, because we're going to put sound in this, is a soundtrack speaker. This is a Sugar Cube speaker that they make. This is the biggest one. It's 8 ohm and it's part number 810154, and it runs about $15. And then of course the last thing we need is a decoder, and I purchased a Economy plug and play with EMD sound in it. And this one is part number 882004. So there's about 5 different EMD or 6 different EMD prime movers that you can select for this. And I've got it in several other locomotives and it works just fine for me. And they run, the street price on these is about $63, something like that. Okay, so those are all the bits and pieces that I wanted to share with you. And so what we need to do now is take this puppy apart, tear it down, and install the motor. We do that. But we also have to take these trucks apart, and I'll have to figure out how to do that. I've never taken a pair of these apart yet. And then I'm going to rewire this, resolder it, some heavier wire on here. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started on this and see how it all turns out. Alrighty, so I started to pull these trucks apart. Whoops, bumped the camera stand. And it was a good thing I did, because when I dropped the wheel sets out of this one unit, I realized that the axles are cracked. There's a split in them. Let's see if I can find it right now. And around here someplace. Where would you go? Oh, there it is. Okay, so I'll get my hands out of the way so it's focusing on the wheel set. Okay, so right here is a hairline crack that's running almost all the way in. So when I check the other one, and it's doing the same thing. I've already gone ahead and ordered some new wheel sets for this. I ordered them from HobbyLink. And so they should be here in a couple days. But in the meantime, I went ahead and soldered up both frames, and I tried to pull this one apart, but I guess it's got a little bit of super glue on it or something. I could not get it off of there, but I was able to get in there with a needle point soldering iron and put some new wire in there. So it's ready to go. You can see it here on this one. Here's this bar I've been talking about too. So this is the new Genesis type. Get a little corrosion here. I have to clean that up. This is the new Genesis type configuration they're doing now for the wiring, and this allows you to run DCC. So you've got a positive connection between your axle surface right here, which rubs in here and brings your track power on up into the decoder. So that's where we sit with that for right now. The other thing I did was to go ahead and clean this guy up. Let me shrinky-dink this a little bit on the screen. Okay. So, there we go. So, I took out all the old stuff, and you see here I got some K-Pock down in here, or I mean Crampton tape, to work with the older motor. But this just drops right in here now, this Kato unit, so that's no problem. So now we need to go ahead and add a little wire to this. Right here you see I've already cut, whoops, right here you already see I've cut the length off of this, and we'll solder a chunk of wire onto this, a piece of red, because this red white dot means that it's positive, so that's your positive side, this is the negative. Also, this is the front of the motor, which needs to go with the front of your locomotive, otherwise it'll run backwards for you. So we'll do that next, and then we'll hurry up and wait on getting the new wheel sets. Also, I had some additional pieces of driveline from some previous projects, and so I may not be able, or may not need to use the K-line kit or the A-line kit. These should work. I got one shaft, one long shaft, one short shaft, and that should work in this locomotive. We'll see. If not, we can always use the A-line for one side or the other. Okay, so that's it for now, and once we get the wheel sets, we'll start putting this puppy back together. Alright, before we start putting everything back together, I have this other truck that needs to be disassembled, and I wanted to show you how to get the this bottom casing off. It's not real difficult, but it's hard to see where the tabs are. So you can see this is the other one. There's 4 tabs, 2 on each end, and then these are keyed right here. So you can't get the side frames off if this is still on the truck, because it locks them in place. So you have to take this bottom pan off in order to get the side frames apart. So let me see if I can do this. Yeah, let's see, let's bring this in a little closer. Should be about right. Now let's see. So what you do is you take a small screwdriver, and then let's see here, and then you take and pop this tab out, work it underneath, pop it underneath. You see it's tipped out now. Yeah, it's tipped out. Then you do the other side. Usually they come out pretty easily. Sometimes you get one that's going to be a little cranky and doesn't want to come off of there. Okay, so there's that. And then you do the other side. Make sure you can see this and get some reflection on it. Okay. There we go. You got to be careful not to pry too hard, because you can actually break this off, crack it. So, voice of experience, been down that route. Just be careful, just take your time. Okay, so Here's the get some more light on this. Right here, right in here is where those little key posts go into to lock the frame in to the side of the truck. The reason they do that is because your connectivity now is running off the side frame of the truck, and you don't want it moving in and out. You don't want it flexing. You need something solid and stable to get that connectivity going. Okay, so that's the way that works. And these theoretically should just pull off of here. And guess what? It's not doing it. So I imagine there's some super glue on these as well. They do fit rather tightly, but what you don't want to do is warp them. So yeah, we're not going to get that apart. In theory, you should be able to pull those out of there. So, okay. We'll continue on with this one when we get the rest of the parts.